And so please welcome a New Yorker by birth, but a Floridian by adoption, our great mayor, Rudy Giuliani.
Thank you. Thank you very, very much. You might notice I lost some of my voice the other night, but I'm still able to speak, and I'm still as passionate as I was last night, the night before, the night before that. Our country is at a crossroads. You know that. Dick wasn't exaggerating when he said, you know, we may have to conduct this from New Zealand next year if things go wrong. The reality is we have a very, very dramatic choice between one way our government can go and the second way. Let me simplify it. Donald Trump is a conservative. He's conservative in economic policy. He's conservative on national security. What does that mean? It means he's going to lower taxes. He's going to lower corporate taxes. He is going to reduce the hundreds of millions of regulations that are crushing American businesses. By that, he's going to reduce my income because my law firm is going to make less money. But he will help my country. When I was in the Justice Department in the 1970s and the 1980s, the Code of Federal Regulations was about this high. It now goes through the ceiling. Every one of those regulations requires companies, small, medium, large, to hire lawyers, accountants, lobbyists, just in order to stay out of jail. Hillary stays out of jail just because she's a Clinton. And that is hurting the ability of this country to produce jobs, even more than taxes, even more than the highest corporate tax in the world. Donald Trump understands that, and he will make that change immediately. The 35% corporate tax will get slashed to 20% or 15% or, I hope, 10. That'll bring billions back to the United States. That's how you produce jobs. He'll reduce the regulations. My suggestion to him is, here's what we do. We just say, take out every other regulation. I don't care which one. Cut them in half. Just pile them up and get rid of the top half or the bottom half. You're not going to miss them. Then he's going to negotiate agreements for us that help America. Look, we want to trade. We want free trade. We want to trade with the whole world. But we want fair terms for trade. And nobody I have ever met, in knowing him for 29 years, can negotiate as effectively as Donald Trump. If I was going to go negotiate for the sale of my condo in Palm Beach, I would have Donald Trump negotiate for me. If I was going to negotiate for, I don't know, for a new job, I'd have Donald Trump negotiate for me. So who do I want negotiating for my country? Do I want Hillary Clinton? No. Hillary Clinton negotiated with Putin. She gave away the defense of Poland and the Czech Republic, the nuclear defense of Poland and the Czech Republic. First of all, I consider that immoral. I work for Ronald Reagan. He's the one who set that up. He's the one that walked out of Reykjavik because Gorbachev required him to give up what the New York Times used to describe in a very nasty way as Star Wars. The New York Times, by the way, is wrong about everything. Ronald Reagan used to read it in order to do the opposite. I mean it. It's true. Now, how stupid can you be not to understand Star Wars? Way back in the 1980s, when the stupid editorial board of the New York Times and the Washington Post used to make fun of him. Just think about this for a moment. If a missile can shoot down an airplane, which it can, correct? A missile can shoot down another missile. If it's a bigger missile, a better missile, a smarter missile, and a more powerful missile. Only political ideologues who think that they're right about everything because they sit on the editorial board of the Washington Post or the New York Times are too stupid to figure that out. Now, if you need any proof that it works, think of the Iron Dome in Israel. I had the great one of the greatest and most fulfilling experiences of my life was Prime Minister Netanyahu allowing me to take pictures of it. And I took those pictures and I brought them to Mrs. Reagan 2 years ago before she died. I'm on the board of the Reagan Library. And I shared them with her. And I shared with her what Prime Minister Netanyahu told me to tell her, which is if it wasn't for her husband, there'd be thousands of Israelis dead. And in return for that, there'd be many more thousands of Palestinians dead because Prime Minister Netanyahu doesn't draw red lines and then turn them into pink and yellow lines and back down. He fights back for his country. Somebody the other day asked me, how can I vote for Donald Trump? He's politically incorrect. I said, okay, let's assume he is politically incorrect. I prefer voting for someone who's politically incorrect than a criminal. Now, you're looking at somebody who has more experience prosecuting criminals than I do practicing politics. I've prosecuted thousands and thousands of criminals, from the lowest level to the highest level, to the heads of the 5 organized crime families in New York, and I put them in jail for 100 years, to Ivan Boesky and Michael Milken, and the Wall Street criminals. The movie Wall Street 1 is about my case. That's the good movie. The second one wasn't so good. I prosecuted Colombian drug cartel murderers. I prosecuted 2 former Nazis and sent them back to be executed for having killed, in one case, 10,000 and in the other case, 12,000 Jewish people. I prosecuted 2 sitting United States congressmen and put them in jail. And I prosecuted most of the Koch administration, which is how I became mayor. So I'm going to tell you this, and I'm going to tell you this with great conviction and absolutely no fear that there's anyone that can contradict this. Hillary Clinton has violated so many federal laws, I would need a blackboard bigger than that to write them all down. I keep them on my iPad. They're all here, all the violations. I never had a case that is as strong as the case against Hillary Clinton. I never, ever, as a lawyer, have ever guaranteed a result, either to the government or to my clients, because I don't know what juries are going to do. However, I will bet my life that if you put me in front of 12 fair and decent Americans and you let me prosecute this case against Hillary Clinton, she will go to jail for 10 years or more. This is my list of violations. Hannity puts it up once a week. He puts it up on his show. And every couple of weeks I update it with a few more violations. But Chris Christie last night and Dick Morris this morning laid out the case for you. I don't have to go any further. I'm going to add one other, however, that really troubles me as a federal prosecutor. There's a bank called UBS. UBS was in a big dispute with the Internal Revenue Service. The Internal Revenue Service wanted UBS to turn over numerous secret bank accounts. They're a Swiss bank, remember. In the Justice Department, in my days in the Justice Department, we would have numerous cases like this with the Swiss in trying to get the bank accounts of organized criminals, drug dealers, and various other criminals. The dispute had been going on for some time. UBS made a $60,000 contribution to the Clinton Foundation. Rather small in Clinton numbers. And they made a $600,000 contribution to the Clinton Foundation. We're starting to talk about real money now, right? And then somewhere in that sequence, Hillary Clinton called the Internal Revenue Service and told them to go easy on UBS, that this could cause friction with the Swiss. We're going to go to war with Switzerland? The Pope would have to give up the Swiss Guard. We're not going to fight with the Pope's Swiss Guard. I don't even think Switzerland has a damn army. The person at the Internal Revenue Service says that he had never received a call like this ever from a secretary and was shocked at her intervention in the case. Several months later, Bill Clinton got a $1.2 million speaking fee from UBS. If that's not a bribe, I don't know. What's the bribe? We're not. I put a congressman in jail and ruined his career for a $40,000 bribe. General Petraeus had his reputation ruined for revealing 2 pieces of top secret information. She revealed thousands. So it's got to end now. I think Dick made the case really well. This special standard for the Clintons that the liberal media has created, the New York Times, the Washington Post, NBC, CBS. What am I missing? Oh, I don't even think about them. This special thing they've created for the Clintons has got to end. Because if we stand for anything, we stand for equal justice under the law. Clintons, as Dick pointed out, the Clintons have been stealing since they were in Little Rock. You go to Little Rock and talk to people like I do, and they will tell you that Bill Clinton was one of the most crooked governors in the state, and his bag woman was Hillary Clinton at the Rose Law Firm. They were crooks back in Little Rock. They sold the Lincoln bedroom. Hillary Clinton was the enforcer-in-chief against the women who accused Bill Clinton of sexually assaulting them. She's a feminist? If there's a war on women, the war on women was the one conducted by Bill Clinton. And empowered by Hillary Clinton. Now, she knew his history. We knew his history. And along comes this young woman, Monica Lewinsky, and tells us about what he was doing in the Oval Office. When she made her first allegations, did you believe her? Did all of America believe her? Hillary Clinton didn't believe her. For 6 months, they conducted a campaign trying to make her sound like she was some kind of an insane maniac. They tried to ruin and destroy the young woman. And then it turned out she had the dress and the DNA. And if she didn't, she would have been ruined. And Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton would have been the ones to have ruined the young woman. Hillary Clinton says she wants to take care of women who are victims of sexual abuse. What about Monica Lewinsky? She was a young girl, an impressionable young girl who was taken advantage of by the President of the United States. If you ran a company, you'd be fired in a minute. For much less than that. You get fired now for telling a dirty joke. My God, I had someone tell me, walking in, they don't even like to say to women anymore, you look beautiful. My goodness, it may be misunderstood. Well, there was nothing to be misunderstood about what Bill Clinton did. No misunderstanding. It wasn't she, you look pretty, Monica. You know what it was. I know what it was. And Hillary Clinton covered it up. You can't say that she didn't know the moment Monica Lewinsky made her allegations. She knew her husband. She knew his history. She knew about the bimbo squad that tried to destroy all the women that Bill Clinton violated. She knew that whole history. When he walked up to that bedroom that night, imagine what she said to him. That's like the Secret Service agent who tells you about how she used to throw all the stuff at him and call him all kinds of names. So we can't have her in the White House. We can't. This would be a disgrace for our country to have a criminal like this in the White House. On the other hand, we have a man who will straighten out our economy. He will make sure we stand up to Islamic terrorism. He's not afraid to say Islamic terrorism. He will completely undo the ridiculous agreement with the Ayatollah of Iran. Yeah. Beyond that, he'll negotiate in our interest. And by his choice of Mike Pence, he has indicated to us he is going to bring highly capable people into government.
That's my deal.
So, everybody always says, well, why doesn't a presidential candidate name their cabinet before they get elected? I'm going to tell you why. Because if Donald Trump or even Hillary Clinton would have named their cabinet before they got into office, there would then be 12 or 13 people the press would go around and try to destroy before the election in order to destroy the candidate. But we get a very clear idea of the kind of cabinet we're going to have by the choice of vice president. So we're going to have a cabinet like Mike Pence. We're going to have a cabinet, maybe not with exactly his background, but governor, a very successful governor of Indiana, a very successful businessman, a very religious man, a very decent man, and a member of the United States Congress with both fiscal and foreign policy experience. You can't ask for more than that. And I'm going to tell you something, because it helped me a lot as mayor of New York. When you take office as an outsider and a reformer, I never held an elected office before I was mayor of New York, just like Donald Trump. I didn't do too bad, right? When you come in as a reformer, as Dick pointed out, as the guy who's going to shake Washington up and change it, change domestic policy, change foreign policy, you draw the best people to you. It gives people excitement that they're going to get a chance to change it. They're going to get a chance to fix it. They're going to get a chance to get it better. I saw it in the Reagan administration. I worked in Washington for President Reagan. I worked for him for 8 years, 2.5 years in Washington. I worked on speeches with him. I worked on law enforcement policy with him. I worked on Haitian immigration policy with him. Mariel Boatlift problems with him, as you remember, in Florida. We got so many talented people volunteering to come and work for us because Ronald Reagan was going to change things. Donald Trump will be like Abraham Lincoln. Abraham Lincoln used to sit there in the Oval Office in the first couple of days of the presidency, and so many people wanted jobs, he was getting exhausted. He will draw the best people in the government. And I know this man for 29 years, and I know he puts on a great show. I'm going to tell you the secret about Donald Trump. He doesn't build those buildings himself. He doesn't pour the concrete. He doesn't put the nails in the wall. He hires enormously capable people to do it. He didn't redo all of Doral in 10 months, driving the tractor. He went and got the best golf architect he could find who understood Doral. He went and got the best people he could find that could fix up the resort. And now Doral is one of the great golf resorts in the world once again. I saw him take over the Wallman Rink when Ed Koch was the mayor. Took Ed Koch 3 years and he never got it done. Donald Trump took it over, got it done in 10 months. But the point is, he didn't do it himself. He hired capable, competent, and very good people to do it. Those are the people that will be working for us. You see, the kind of stuff Donald Trump has done for that beautiful family of his, the wealth that he's created, the empire that he's created, that's what he's going to do for us. That's what he's going to do for all of us. When he says he's going to make America great again, he means it. He means great. He means prosperous. And for all of us, white and black and Hispanic and Asian and everything else we are, and if I leave something out, please don't get angry at me. He loves all people, and he wants us to be the country we should be. We should be the leading country on earth. I want a president who, when Putin wakes up in the morning, and the Ayatollah wakes up in the morning, they are Fidel's dead. They're just propping him up. Fidel has actually been dead for 4 years, and they mummified him. Let me try it one other way. Do you think Putin, the Ayatollah, the head of the Islamic State, or the head of South Korea, you think they're afraid of Hillary Clinton or Barack Obama? You think they're afraid of Donald Trump? Well, you're damn right they are. I will tell you, from knowing him for 29 years, I can tell you a lot of things about him, but I'm going to finish now. I'm going to tell you one thing. And boy, this is the reason he should be our president. This man doesn't back down to anyone. You have seen it. He didn't back down to the establishment of our party. He didn't back down to all the terrible things the media did to him. When he believes he's right, he fights. We're right. We have to fight to protect ourselves. We don't get freedom for nothing. We have to take this war against us to them and fight it there, not in Orlando, not in San Bernardino, but in Iraq and Afghanistan and Pakistan and all those places where they're trying to kill us. And before they kill us, we have to kill them. We don't want to do it. We'd rather not do it. But when you take that oath of office, you take the oath of office to protect Americans. And finally, if there is one group of people that I love with a special love, going back to my 5 uncles who were police officers, my one uncle who was a fire captain, it's my New York City Police Department and my New York City Fire Department. I loved them before September 11, and I was at the bedside, at least 40 of them who died in the line of duty before September 11, holding their hands and holding their families' hands. I love these men because, and women, because they put on a uniform that means that they are risking their lives to protect us. I'm not wearing that uniform. They're protecting me. I'm not protecting them. When you do the kinds of things that this administration has done to the reputation of our police, and the New York City Police and the New York City Fire Department is no different than the police in Orlando or in Miami or in Nevada or here in Cleveland. It's one line of blue. They're the ones who save us. They're the ones who put their lives at risk for us. When you do what this administration has done to the reputation of these brave men and women, you should be ashamed of yourself. You should be ashamed of yourself. And if you think this is helping race relations in America, well, race relations are much worse now than the day that Obama came into office. I can stand here and tell you, without fear of contradiction, that no mayor in the history of New York City saved more black lives than I did. No mayor in the history of New York City found more jobs for African Americans than I did. And I am passionate about choice, charter schools, and vouchers as the way out. Yes, there's unfairness. We can cure it, and we need Donald Trump to do it. Thank you, and God bless you.
Florida Delegation, Mayor Rudy Giuliani. Now, the mayor has just informed me that he is graciously going to stay for a couple minutes, and he's going to answer 3 questions from the audience. We know he has a busy schedule, but before we get to questions, just a moment of personal privilege here. Mayor, I was telling the mayor as he walked in, I'm a kid that grew up in New York City, and some people know me that I did not grow up with a family of means. And when I was younger, I went to high school. I graduated high school in 1988. I moved to Florida in 1996. And growing up as a kid in Queens, we hardly ever went into Manhattan, New York City, because of the crime rate. We were afraid. My father used to say, just please don't go to Manhattan because I want to make sure that you return. Under this man's, and I'm going to say it, leadership, he not only turned around New York City, but made New York City thrive and prosper to the point when I first went back after I moved to Florida from New York City, and I went into Manhattan, and I said, wow, look at this place. And that is a testament to your hard work and your leadership, Mayor. Thank you so much. 3 questions. Let's answer 3 questions. So who do we got? Right there. No, I'm sorry. Right there. Okay. Make sure you speak loud.
Mr. Mayor, this morning I'm reading your least favorite publication, and it says that there was, only a 24% chance that Donald J. Trump would win the White House. And it's obviously disheartening, but share your thoughts, if you would, about the liberal media who spent now 48 hours talking about a speech that may or may not have been plagiarized, and the stuff that's just so peripheral. And then we have this battle going on that we're trying to tell our friends and neighbors all across the country, you don't know them, you do. Stuff that we should be saying on a regular basis to put us over the finish line. By the way, they said the chances of Donald Trump winning were the same as an NBA player missing a free throw.
Hold the paper up again, please. You know what to do with it? I would imagine you could go back to 1980 and they wrote similar things about Ronald Reagan, who won in a landslide. The New York Times is a disgrace. It's a dishonorable newspaper. It's had numerous reporters who had to be fired for lying and cheating, and they have a liberal bias that is enormous, and they're not making any money. And nobody pays attention to them but the people that are going to vote that way anyway. So don't worry about it. Donald Trump has a very good chance of winning the presidency. I believe he is going to win the presidency. I do not believe that the American people, as they get to know his program for growth, his program for defending us, I believe that's where the majority of the American people are. And just like a year ago, the New York Times would have written that Donald Trump had 0% of being the Republican nominee, they are just as right about that as they are about the 24%.
Mr. Mayor, what should we say to leaders of our party, some of whom are former presidential candidates who are well known to the state, who are supporting Never Trump or not supporting our nominee? What should we say to them?
Look, some of them are very good friends of mine. I like them very much. I feel bad that they're taking the position they're taking. I'm a Republican. I'd be for Donald Trump even if I wasn't a good friend of his. I happen to have the advantage of knowing him really well, which makes me much more enthusiastic about it. But how could they possibly want to see Hillary Clinton in the White House?
That's right.
And we can't play this game. Well, she'll be in for 4 years. First of all, I don't know how much damage she can do in 4 years. It may be irreversible. And I don't know if 4 years doesn't become 8 years. So this is our chance to change the country we love. It's not about Jeb Bush. You know, it's not about his ego or whether he feels he was insulted, and he may have honestly feel that way. It's not about whether Mitt Romney feels, I don't know what he feels, whatever he feels. I never got much feeling from Mitt to start with. Maybe if we had gotten a little feeling from Mitt, we wouldn't have Obama. I don't know what they're doing. You got a great governor. He's supporting Donald Trump. Your governor, by the way, doesn't get the credit he deserves. You got a great senator. And he's shown that he's a man that can overcome some of the hurt and some of the disappointment of losing. I had to do that when I supported John McCain. That's part of life. It's part of being a man, it's part of being a woman, part of being an adult. So here's what I would say. It shows that the establishment of the Republican Party is against Donald Trump. Thank God. Because the establishment of the Republican Party hasn't done much better than the establishment of the Democratic Party to screw up Washington. We're coming in with a whole group of new people, because we're going to change the way Washington is run, and we're going to make it run for the people.
Mayor Giuliani, we know that you were the mayor of the most diverse city in this world, and that we had every creed, color, race on this in New York City. We know that God, the Lord, our Creator, loves all lives, but yet we have Democratic candidates who've said only black lives matter, and we know that blue lives matter because they protect all of us. So as God has said that all lives matter, would you address that with us, please?
That's a very profound question. Whenever we start to create special categories for races, religions, ethnic groups, we start to divide each other. When I became mayor of New York City, my motto was one city, one standard for everybody. The good, the bad. Doesn't matter what color, what creed. I was sitting there making appointments, and I had to make an appointment to my European liaison office. I had a black liaison office, a Jewish liaison office, an Irish liaison office, an Italian liaison office, an Indian liaison office, a Pakistani liaison office, a gay and lesbian liaison office, and I had one called European liaison office. And I'm trying to figure out, who do you select for a European liaison office? If I pick somebody French, I will insult the Germans. If I pick somebody Swiss, I'll get $1.2 million speaking fee. So I'm sitting there with my deputy mayor and my best friend in life, who died last week, Peter Powers, who was my campaign manager, and moved to your state 3 years ago, lived in Miami. I said, you know something? Why don't I just do away with all these offices? All 13 of them. Why do I need a black office and a Jewish office and a lesbian and gay office and a European office and an Asian office and a Chinese office why don't I have just one person that tries to help all people equally? And that's what I tried to do. I think it is perfectly proper for us to take and plagiarize Obama's speech in '04. There's no white America. There's no black America. There's one America. Problem is, he hasn't followed that. We will. We will.
Big round of applause for America's Mayor, Rudy Giuliani. We're going to have Rudy. Mayor, thank you for your leadership. You guys having a great time here at the convention? You guys ready?